Please state your name and spell your last name.
Katherine Camarano, Camerano.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Probably about since 2005, maybe 20 years, 2005, I think.
Who, if anyone, you live in Canton?
My husband, Michael, and my 2 children.
How old are you?
Right now, 13 and 16.
Starting with 16-year-old, is that boy or
Girl.
13-year-old, is that boy or girl?
Boy.
And as far as activities are concerned with the kids, do they play sports or they do other sorts of activities?
They play sports. Yep.
What sports does your 16-year-old play?
Currently, right now, softball.
Any other sports in town?
She played soccer. She played hockey for a little bit, but mostly soccer and softball.
Your 13-year-old son, what other sports?
Hockey and baseball.
You work, man?
I do.
What do you do?
I'm a nurse.
How long have you been working?
21 years.
Your husband, does he work?
He does.
What does he do?
He's a laborer.
And how long has he been doing that?
Probably 25, maybe even 30 years, actually.
How long have the two of you been together?
Married?
No.
20 years, 2004.
And if I could turn your attention to January 28th, 2022 into January 29th, 2022. Do you recall those couple days?
Yeah.
Do you recall what days of the week they were?
It was Friday into Saturday night.
Starting the Friday of the 28th. Were you working that day?
I was working that night.
Typically, what kind of shift do you work as?
I work 7 p to 7 a, nights, mostly weekends.
The weekends would be sort of typically when you'd be at work?
Yes.
Around this time of January 2022, when you were at work, what sort of your husband and your children would be doing typically on like Friday?
Friday night, they went to Johnny's house a lot, and the kids hung out, and they all just hung out together on a Friday night.
Starting with Johnny, who you refer to as John O'Keefe, is that correct?
Yes.
How is it that you came to know John?
My husband got introduced to him, and then the girls started hanging out probably 2018, 4th grade. The boys around the same time when he moved to Meadows, probably around that time.
And so Mr. O'Keefe, he had a niece and a nephew of who he was a guardian, is that correct?
Correct.
He had a niece named Kaylee and a nephew named Pat,
Correct.
And they lived with him, is that correct?
Correct.
With regard to his niece Kaylee and your daughter, how did they know each other?
They first met on the soccer team, probably soccer. Yes, they met soccer 4th grade. Or was it? It could have been basketball. She played basketball when she was that little, Madeline. Basketball team, 4th or 5th grade, and quickly by the 5th, 6th grade, they were like best friends attached to the hip.
As far as Mr. O'Keefe's nephew Patrick, in relation to your son, were they the same age as well?
They were. They played baseball together.
Outside of baseball, were they friendly as well?
Yes.
And so typical Friday night would be you were at work and your husband and kids would go over to Mr. O'Keefe's.
Correct.
You knew where Mr. O'Keefe's house was?
Yes.
Where was that?
On Meadows Ave.
About how far away from your house was Mr. O'Keefe's house on one house?
Maybe 2 miles, maybe. I don't know.
So fairly short distance?
Yes.
Now, with regard to this specific Friday night, January 28th, you were at work and you know what sort of the plan was with reference to the rest of your family?
Michael, my son was going to play with a friend of his, a school play in the town, and Michael was going to Johnny's with Madeline, my daughter, and they were going to hang out there for the night, and Michael and Johnny were going to potentially go out.
With reference to your daughter and Mr. O'Keefe's niece, Kaylee, what if anything around, specifically to that day, what if anything was sort of going on? I mean,
They had just got into Bishopian High School that day.
at this time, January 2022, what grade were they in?
They were in 8th, they were going into 9th that September.
So they had been accepted to this private school, Bishopian, and got their acceptance letters that day?
Yep.
So what if any conversations you recall having with Mr. O'Keefe in reference to that on that day?
They were just really excited about it. Everyone was really excited that they just got in.
Now, at some point, well, beyond, if you could sort of describe the nature of your relationship about you, plural, as far as you and your husband, with regard to Mr. O'Keefe.
He was our friend. He was really good to me and my kids.
As far as the kids were concerned, what if any sort of interplay did you have with regard to his kids? Did he have with regard to
I worked weekends, and he would take my kids to sporting. I would do a lot of the stuff during the week if I was around the practices, and him and my husband would always do the games. The kids used to call them my 2 dads. It was like they had a lot of fun together. It was like a well-oiled machine.
Now, through your friendship with Mr. O'Keefe, at some point did you come to know someone by the name of Karen?
Yes.
And who was Karen Read in relation to Mr. O'Keefe?
She was his girlfriend.
And to be clear, when we're talking about Karen Read, I'm just reading forward.
I do.
Could you just identify as to which she's in or not?
Yeah, she's right there.
No, just that's where to reflect identification.
Yes.
Now, Bart, prior to this day of January 28th, 2022, how long had you known her?
Whenever they started dating, probably 2 years. During COVID. When was COVID? Probably 2 years. Right?
During the COVID pandemic.
Yeah. Yep.
As far as you were aware, did she live with Mr. O'Keefe and the children, or did she have somewhere else?
No, she had a house in Mansfield, but she stayed at Meadows a lot.
Of course, around this time of January 2022, general concept, about how often would you see Mr. O'Keefe?
Probably 3 days a week, I would say.
So typically when you would see him, would that be a game or
Oh,
at your house?
Anything, drop off, pick up, his house, games, anything.
As far as Mr. O'Keefe and Ms. Read were concerned with regard to you and your husband, what any socialization did you have outside of kids?
Yeah, we went out to eat. We went to a comedy show. I would socialize with them.
About how often would you do that?
The kids were around mostly, but maybe a few times. I feel like the kids were usually always around.
Now, at some point, did you become aware that your husband, Mr. O'Keefe, had gone out that evening?
Yes.
How did you become aware of that?
I don't know. Either Michael told me or my daughter told me. One of them told me. I forget who.
Do you know where your husband went that night?
I don't remember if he told me exactly where he went.
At some point, still at work, you're working overnight, is that correct?
Yes.
And the rest of your family, being husband and kids, they came home at some point?
They did.
How do you know sort of when or how?
I have an alarm on my house, so I know when somebody opens the door. I can check at work, and it alerts me if the door's open, if the alarm is on, off, who puts it on, who puts it off, what doors are open, when the alarm is rearmed. If I usually don't allow sleepovers, and even if I did, my husband would have called me at work.
Fair to say there's a rule within your house that sleepovers don't happen unless you approve.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm going to turn your attention now to the morning of the 29th. At some point, while you were at work, did you receive a call from someone?
Yes.
What if anyone called?
Karen,
About what time was it?
probably between 4 and 5.
What, if anything, did the defendant say to you when she called you around 4 or 5?
She was just screaming, "Where's Mike? Where's Mike?"
Was that a typical sort of situation that you would get a call from the defendant at that time?
No, not at all.
The screaming that you heard or the phraseology of where's Mike, is that something she said once or once or something?
She just kept saying it. She just kept saying, "Where's Mike?"
What, if anything, did you say in response to that?
I was just like, hold on, calm down. As I was rechecking like the alarm. I said, he's home with the kids. Let me call him. At some point I hung up. I called my husband, I don't know, probably, it felt like 100 times.
You were working when you get this call, is that right? Do you recall where you were, what you were doing when you got the call?
I was getting ready to draw a morning lab, so I knew it was between 4 and 5 a.m. somewhere
As
early
far
morning.
as, as far as where's Mike, what if anything the defendant indicated as to why she passed?
John didn't come home.
From your knowledge of John O'Keefe, was that something that was normal or no?
No.
During this sort of initial call with the defendant, what if anything did you hear in the background of that call?
That first call, I don't think I heard anything in that.
Your memory exhausted as that?
Yeah, I don't remember it. Yes.
Ma'am, what I'm going to do is complete the document for you. There's a second paragraph on the page. You can just read that to yourself.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know if that was. Yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Reading what I just placed before you, remember refresh as to what if anything you heard in the background.
Yeah. I could hear Keely in the background.
And you hang up on that call, and what did you do?
Call Michael.
At any point when you're calling Michael, I think you said you felt like it was about 100 times. Did your husband Michael answer?
He never answered. No.
So after you called your husband many times, he didn't answer. What did you do?
I called either Karen's phone or Kaylee's phone back. I texted John, I think, twice. And I could, whoever's phone I called, I could hear Jen in the background that someone had called Jen too.
So you were speaking on the phone with either the defendant or Kaylee, correct?
Yep.
You could hear someone named Jen in the background?
Yep. I could hear her in the background.
When you say you could hear someone,
Like it sounded, sorry,
so just as far as Jen, who is
Jen McCabe. She was one of Madeline's basketball coaches, so I know her voice.
her sort of voice on the sideline?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you know her personally at all?
I knew her as Madeline's coach.
At some point you were talking to Kaylee on the phone, correct?
Yes.
What is it that you were saying to her?
I was just saying to her, is everybody okay? She said they're going to go out looking for him. I think she said they were going to go out looking, or she went out, she's going to go out. No one knows where he is. And then I think I like hung up with her. And then at some point I maybe texted Kaylee or called, and I said, is Karen out alone? She said, no, she's with Jen and Kerry. So I said, okay, as long as they're not alone.
The second phone call, you're talking to Kaylee, and you can hear the defendant talking to Ms. McCabe, is that correct?
Yes.
You hear one side of the conversation or both sides of the conversation?
I don't really recall exactly. I felt like it was just like a lot of screaming, like he's not home. I don't really recall 100%.
But as far as the screaming that you heard that he's not home, do you recall whose voice that was that you were saying that?
It was Karen.
Beyond that, as far as the conversation that you overheard, with anything specific about that conversation?
I don't.
While these phone calls are going on, again, you're at work, correct?
Correct.
What is it that you're doing in relation to your job while these phone calls are going back?
I'm trying to, in between, draw labs for my patients, and then I'm like going in the back room, texting or calling, and then I'd go back out to the desk, out to the patients.
I mentioned that the defendant was sort of screaming when she was talking to you on the phone, and you were in the background. You talked to Kaylee.
Yep.
Could you describe, or how would you describe her and her on the defendant's demeanor while you heard her on the phone?
She was just like frantically screaming, "Where's Mike?"
During this time, you're working, you're dealing with patients, and you're going back
Yeah.
to patients on the phone.
Mhm.
In addition to speaking on the phone with the defendant and then Kaylee, who, anyone else did you reach out to, or did you talk to that one?
I talked to Carrie Roberts in the morning at some point. I don't know if I called her, she called me. She said that I think that he was going to the hospital, and then I called my husband and told him that Kaylee was home alone and that he should go get her because she was at the house alone.
Is it your understanding that your husband Michael then went to Meadows to pick up Kaylee?
Mhm. Yes, sorry.
You mentioned at some point you spoke to Carrie Roberts, is that correct?
Yes.
How do you know Carrie Roberts?
I've known her since high school.
As far as you grew up in the same town, is that correct?
No, I was friends with her cousin, so I had known her, and I've always known her. I've been friends with her for a while.
I'm sure you what's been previously marked as Exhibit 48. With respect to that white box sort of top of the page, seeing as participants of that conversation,
Yes.
as a text conversation,
Yes.
who was listed as a participant in that conversation?
Katie Camerano, and
Is JJ another sort of name or nickname for John O'Keefe?
Yep.
And the content, there's two blue bubbles on the bottom of that page. Is that correct?
correct.
Do you recognize the content of those bubbles?
Yes.
What do you recognize those?
My text messages to him.
Those text messages you just testified about as far as sending to John that morning.
Correct.
Both of them are from you with no response from Mr. O'Keefe.
Correct.
About what time are the two text messages sent to Mr. O'Keefe? According to that up?
5.
Now, Ms. Camerano, you had mentioned in your testimony that you had some phone calls or conversations with Ms. Read on the morning of January 29th, correct?
Correct.
The document those seem to reflect the calls that you had between yourself and the defendant, Ms. Read, on that morning of the 29th.
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sure. Could I please see that?
From that document, does that seem to be the timing of the phone calls between yourself and Ms. Read that morning?
Okay. Yes.
I'll want to introduce in a minute the next exhibit.
Any objection, Mr. Jackson?
No, it's not.
All right, thank you.
I'm showing that to you, which is now marked as exhibit 51. Your Honor, with court's permission, I would request to publish that here on screen.
Okay.
Before we get to what's up on the screen, is that what you have for you? No, Ms. Camerano, starting from as far as the order of these, you see to and from, it's 8 times on there.
Yes.
Does it appear as if the earlier times are towards the bottom and then it goes on in time chronology towards the top?
Yes.
Ms. Camerano, you could scroll to the bottom box. With reference to essentially there are 6 boxes, am I correct in that?
Correct.
With regard to box 6, if you could just tell the jury sort of
It says 1/29/2022, 4:49 a.m. to Katie Camerano, answered 2 minutes and 51 seconds. From, it looks like I called her at 4:56 on 1/29 for 2 minutes and 57 seconds, answered. I called her 5 a.m., 2 minutes and 4 seconds, answered. And then I called her again at 5:32 for 8 seconds, that was answered. And then I called her again at 5:34, was missed. At 5:34 was missed. And then I called her again at 6:44 and 49 seconds, and that was not answered.
Yes.
with respect, in addition to the phone calls that you had with the defendant, you also had some text back and forth that morning as well.
Correct.
Do you recognize what that what's in that document?
Yes.
What do you recognize?
It's my text to Karen.
And with respect to the sort of first page of that, is there also similar to the one that I showed you with regards to Mr. O'Keefe? Is there a listing as far as the participants in that conversation?
Yes. Karen Read and Katie Camerano.
May I approach again?
Yes. No objection, Mr. Jackson?
No objection,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
then.
To you, and Your Honor, with court permission, I would publish this on the screen here as well.
Okay.
I'd like to direct your attention to content of this. There's essentially the blue bubbles and green bubbles. Is that correct?
Correct.
And is there an indication on there as far as who the message is from and who the message is to?
The blue bubbles would be me texting Karen.
And if you could, starting with the first bubble on page 1, if you could just describe to the jury, and we'll go through it as far as,
That's from me. I'm asking Karen, are you okay?
and this next bubble,
Go back home so you're safe with Kaylee. He will end up home. I bet he's on someone's couch.
and the next bubble too.
What's going on, Karen? I'm driving around with Carrie and Jen.
And this is the text that you received
From-
from the so.
Yes.
And is there a time on that associated with when that text was
5:53, does it say?
5:53 a.m. Is that correct?
5:53. Okay, is one of them driving? I'm texting Karen, yes. Is one of them driving? And then,
Why were you texting that? Why were you concerned about that?
because she was so hysterical, I didn't want her driving.
And what if any responses?
Yes. And I said, okay, keep me posted. At his brother's or mom's, question mark, or the station he works at.
Both of those messages, about what time were those?
6 a.m.
And what if any, if you could slow down, and then what if any responses from the defendant this week following those texts?
I don't think his bro is in West Bridgewater, W Bridgewater.
If you could slow down again. Next message, ma'am.
Right, I'm sorry, I'm any luck.
And that was the text you sent at approximately what time now?
6:04.
Let's give it if you could slow down. And what was the
Then-
response?
He's dead.
And again, what time did you receive that text message?
6:34. What, Karen, are you serious?
That's the your response to the last statement.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And then Karen, do you have any idea where he is, or did you find him? He was in the snow.
That last message that you received, what time was that?
That was at 6:36.
Get that down. Mr. Rosser. Following that text message, the last one about 6:34 a.m., what if any other communication did you have with the defendant that morning?
Nothing.
What if any other communication did you have with the defendant since then?
None.
As far as any of the other people that you spoke of, as far as talking to that morning, Ms. Roberts or Kaylee, did you have any further conversation with them in regards to what was going on?
No.
I may have just one moment. Nothing further for this witness.
All right, cross-examination?
Hi, how are you?
Okay. To Mr. Ali's last point, after that series of text messages that you had early in the morning on January 29th, 2022, you said you could hear from Ms. Read or didn't have any communication with her after that. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
Did you reach out to her text message wise?
No.
Were you aware that her phone had been seized shortly thereafter from her?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right, Ms. Camerano. Oh, there's nothing else, Mr. Lally.